Be willing to put in the hours, put in the effort, work ethic. I think all those things are really important in this business. And dealing with stress. I mean, you're looking outside, it's real calm. There's not a lot going on. It seems real tranquil, and you can just kind of hang out. And well, all that changes within 24 hours in these type of businesses. It wasn't my career to begin with, basically. High school, I worked for a farmer. I went to college, for geology. So I ended up, once I graduated, I went to environmental science. Worked for a consulting construction company. And my main job was basically redeveloping property, taking like industrial property and clean it up and basically making it be used for like residential property or other things. I've always been kind of tied to the land, and through that farmer that I used to work for in high school, this opportunity came up. And so, it's all about, we hate to say it, but a lot of it's about who you know and farmer. Put it in the grain bins, market it, sell it out through the year. So we take it all during harvest and then push it out through the year. This year was kind of unusual because we had very little production locally. So we're actually having to bring rail cars of corn in from the Midwest to meet contracts that we already had. It's hard to say exactly what years. Last year was pretty, more recent history, last year was pretty difficult. I would say production-wise, we probably brought in, a quarter of the amount of grain that we would normally bring in on a normal year. This is our biggest bin. It holds about 450 truckloads. So basically, each bin, obviously, it was built at a different time. They're different sizes. It's not very consistent, but it works for what we need. Just kind of take you through like how it works. So trucks go on the scale, we weigh them, we sample the grain, figure out what the quality is. They come around here. This is where the trucks are unloaded. It's a pit. Pit basically, everything's gravity fed, right? So the truck has hoppers on the bottom. I wish there was a trailer, but there's hoppers on the bottom of the trailer to where you just open the hopper and by gravity it goes into this drag conveyor. It's going to pull this material into that elevator leg, and then it's going to go all the way to the top. And then by gravity, you select which bin it's going to go to. So the grain, it's not by gravity, but you pick which bin you want it to go to, and then once it hits that spout, then by gravity it goes into the bin. So in the perspective of someone coming into this industry, I would say it's funny how we see like constant change, but you would think this is an old industry and things don't really change, but markets and demands change. So I think starting out, just not being stuck and doing the same thing over and over again, it would be a good benefit. Like if I could go back and tell myself something from the day I started in this business, is don't plan on next year to be just like this year, because it's not going to be. The quantity is going to change, the producers are going to change, prices are going to change, the demand's going to change. So you got to be really open to all that, and don't be closed-minded to any of it. to get a good perspective, we gotta go inside. These are the aeration channels, basically. So let's go back to, you see that spout right there, basically in the center? The elevator goes to another spout, and then there's a roof auger that runs into that. So all the grain goes from the center spout to fill this bin up. Keep the grain in condition, so whenever during harvest it comes in really hot. That grain's 100 degrees. Well, you can't just put a bunch of grain in. And grain is actually, or corn specifically, is a good insulator. So it'll keep that heat. In order to cut that heat, to cool the grain down, that's what we use, aeration. That's what these channels are for. So there's big fans on the outside that push air into the bin to help cool the grain down. So at some point, the need for this type of business here is going to be reduced. That's why we're trying to do other things to keep this place still livelihood. You know, 5 years ago I told you we can easily survive another 10 or 15 years. Mm-hmm. You know, with what happened during the pandemic, everybody left big cities. They came out to the country and bought small pieces of property. In order to buy a small piece of property, you got to split up a big piece of property. So you're taking land out of production to live on, which I'm not against. You know, people having a good, affordable place to live, but it cuts into the amount of area you're going to have producing commodities that we bring in. You know, we can look at any community and it's happening. I mean, you look at, like, just drive down 35 and there is very little separation between each one of these towns. So with that, you know, you're losing, obviously, our livelihood is the land, and without the land, you know, there is no grain production. So we do bring commodities on our rail when we're short. So not only do we ship out on rail when the market's right, but we also bring in the rail. Texas is actually a corn deficit state. We don't produce near the amount of corn that we utilize or use.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we always will have to bring corn into Texas. So if the local farmers don't have a shortage, that means we have to replace that with more corn brought in. Yes. And that's what we've been doing the last few weeks, bringing corn in and unloading it, then send it off to customers, basically. Another thing we've done recently, and we're trying to get out of just the traditional markets. Another thing we've done recently was we brought barley in. Yes. For a malter that's in Fort Worth, to have it malted and then sell it to each brewery or whatever, however, to all of his customer base. Yes. And we just recently brought in a car that was already malted, so then it could go straight to their customer. Okay. So a little different deal that we're trying to, you know, kind of expand and diversify what we're doing. I don't have a bunch of people under me saying, just telling them what to do. If something needs to be done, I'm involved. You know, it's something you really got to think about a lot. And, you know, it's just, work ethics is huge in that deal. And I think a lot of people struggle with work ethic, especially, you know, we say something and we want it done, but we don't necessarily want to put in the effort to get it done. You know, you always think it might be greener on the other side, and sometimes it is, but there's a part of this business, like working with, you know, the members. We operate as a co-op, and so, you know, it's nice to be able to work with the members of the company. Until my path goes somewhere else, I can see myself here, you know.